Hey guys, you are watching BlockheadU here on Instagram. I am so excited for you to be watching this. This is the replay. And we are getting pumped up for our pre-Joey McIntyre in New York situation. Okay, I'm looking for Melanie. We'll wait for her to join us. And I apologize for joining you very quickly. We had a little family night tonight, so Melanie is here. I'll see if I can add her. Here we go. And maybe number 3 because of our little Sunday shenanigans that we were getting into. So we'll see when Melanie pops on board. Oh boy. So many people. Okay, so we're all getting ready for all of the lives. Hope maybe not lives, but all of the content we will be getting from Joe's shows in New York City. And I can't wait to hear who has.
There we go.
Hi.
How are you?
Welcome. I'm great. I am.
Okay,
it's a
because I
long
just
story.
texted
I'm
you. I was
doing
like,
fantastic.
so, how's it going over there?
Well, I thought I had messaged you and been like, oh, I'm going to go live in like 2 minutes, but I sent it to
How
another
dare you
Melanie
know
that I'm
another
friends
Melanie?
with. So, oh my goodness, right? I'm just going to, all the Melanies in my life.
The other Melanies are probably
sorry.
like, wait, what? We're going live? What do you mean? I'm not ready.
Well, luckily, it's a good friend I've known since we were children. So she was like, I don't think I know what you're talking about. And I was like, wrong, Melanie. I'm sure she'll let it roll. So I was just starting to ask people, like, who's going to Joe's
Is there
show?
anybody at the Joe show now?
Anybody
there now?
Right?
I realized that.
Because you leave.
Sorry?
You leave.
Yeah, I leave.
You leave pretty soon.
I leave early tomorrow morning. But I was realizing that, his show starts at 9 tonight. So like now, so somebody else could easily go live from the show and everybody's going to leave this live. But you know what?
Just remember, everyone, if you see Joe going live or someone going live at the Joe show, they'll save it and post it later.
Or you can
save
it for the live at your Carnegie, which would be a little bit better, I think, right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm so beyond jealous of everyone who is going. It's been hard. And then also adding on now the Houston rodeo, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many opportunities to like
we know that, so.
hang out.
Hard pass.
It'll be interesting. I'm very excited to see like what that'll end up being. But I keep looking for our
I see that she's
guests.
in here. If you were to look in like who's watching, it's DEBSHAFRAN.
Okay, I have some requests to join us, but it's not Deb. So Deb, if you're out there, please request to join. So
I'm not sure she knows how. I just gave her like a little tutorial the other day, but it says that she is here. And also, make Megs a moderator as well while you're doing that. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Thanks so much, Megs.
Okay. Oh, there. I got Deb here. And then I'll add our moderator.
Oh, no video allowed at Carnegie. Got it. That makes sense. Hi. Hi, Deb.
Hi, Deb.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Melanie, it was great to chat with you briefly. And Ashley, I'm super excited to meet you. And I'm so excited. Took a few notes. I didn't want to miss a beat, but I'm super excited to chat with you ladies. And everyone that's joining on the live, glad we could give you something for those of you who couldn't go to Mohegan Sun tonight. And those that are, they can catch the replay of this afterwards as well. So,
yeah. Can you just quickly introduce yourselves and introduce yourself and let people know from where you're joining?
Absolutely. So, hi, everybody. My name is Deb Shafran. I am joining you from, I'll say, the greater Boston area. I feel like you never want to put your actual hometown on blast, right?
Right. Got it.
And I have a lot of stories to tell. I don't know how much where you want me to sort of start. So
Well, I mean, there's a Joe poster facing us right now. And, you know, when we chatted the other day, I noticed just beside your Joe poster, a couple of degrees. Yeah. So she's got her degrees and her Joe poster and a couple of cool pictures. So I want to know I know that there's a cool story behind that Joe poster. Can you tell us?
We'll do like the little montage. So if it's all right with you, I'll sort of rewind a little bit before we get to that.
Yeah.
So I went to my first show in 1989. It was actually 8/9/89, which ironically is the date, not the year. But Joey got married on 8/9. What? You know that? Okay.
I feel like that should have been you who was marrying then.
Well, nobody knew then, right? But just the numbers, if you're like into numerology or anything. So I guess I sort of bring that up to just say that, you know, for so many of us, I mean, like I have not met either of you in person, but we instantly have this bond because we had this, I've been saying, unapologetic love for this group of guys that have such a deep meaning in our lives. So a lot of us have a very long history with them. And we have to think about what they meant to us then, like as a child, and then what they mean to us now. And I feel like the culmination of all of that transpires into how we show up, whether it's on a live or at a show or on a cruise or at a social skate or something. And that it also affects how we receive the energy in that space. So I just sort of feel like there's a lot of depth that a lot of people just jump right into the events of, you know, what had transpired, but just to give some context that there's a rich history behind it that I feel like impacts a lot of that. Like, were either of you at the Face the Music tour in 1994?
No.
So that was a club tour.
Yeah.
I was in college. I went to college in Washington, D.C., and we took like a bus, and I had some friends that were in like sororities, and I had those like plastic water bottles with the big thick straws. We totally had like emas in there, and we're like going to Baltimore and Philly, and we're like, well, only 4. John wasn't on that tour.
Oh, so, right. That's when he fell off the horse, right?
Fell off the horse.
Right.
Jordan had like the Caesar haircut, right? With like
that was a I like that era. That was a good era.
Yeah,
like goatee-ish.
Yeah. And I remember, so I worked in radio for a very long time, in commercial radio. And I remember when I worked at my first radio station, I was telling someone about the new kids and like just how amazing they are. And this was 97. And I still vividly remember a boss said to me, wow, you can't be loyal to something that's over. And I was so crushed because this was like, right, 94. The tour is a few years later. And I knew
would he say that to like Beatles fans? Right?
Well, like none of them are dead, so it's not over.
Right?
But I knew in my heart it wasn't over. I just didn't know when or how. Like I just had faith in the universe that somehow they would come back together again. So 2008, was anybody at the Boston reunion show?
No.
You're
putting us you're putting me to shame at least.
I'm just trying to give context, like the history of it, that like, you know, I remember being I was on the floor, but wicked far back. Like they were like this big on the stage. And I remember thinking, oh my God, we never thought this would actually happen again. And they're here. And here we are in 2023. Stop it. What? Like
this era, this comeback era is longer than the original era, right? Like,
I mean, some people started like 86. I mean, I didn't really know about them till like 88. I mean, I don't know about you, but I remember sitting cross-legged on my living room floor, staring at MTV videos and being like, "Please Don't Go Girl" came on, and I was like, "Who is that boy? Who? He is my boyfriend."
I mean, this 15 years since they came back.
Right.
Like that's insane.
So fast forward to 2013. So 2013, at the time I had a condo in Natick, Mass, which is at mile 8 of the Boston Marathon. And that was one of the years that Joey ran. He ran for his mom. Unfortunately, that was the year of the bombings, but we didn't know that at the beginning of the day, right? And every year I lived in that condo for like, I don't know, a decade or something. And every year we'd walk down to the end of the street and we'd go cheer on all the runners, and it was super fun. And I had that poster in my closet for 12 years. I never hung it up in that condo. And my friend across the hall, my neighbor Ann, she says, I was about to move. So I was packing all my stuff and I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to let go of this. Like, I haven't hung it up in this condo. I'm not going to hang it up again. Like, I think it's okay to throw it. And she was like, oh, I have a good idea. Why don't we walk it down to the end of the street? You can hold it up and maybe you'll see him. And at the time, I think he gave out what his bib number was. So people were like tracking where he was and stuff. And I don't know if you've ever watched a marathon, but like you get almost motion sickness.
Yeah.
You're just like,
you're just constantly looking for people and watching them go by. It's
I'm standing on one side and I didn't see him, but my friend said he was running on the opposite side of the street.
Yeah.
He must have seen the poster. He cut across the width of the field of the marathon, and he literally puts himself in front of me and just goes like this. Right? So now he's hugging me. Hi, all of the sweat is all over that poster now. I'm sorry, but I can't throw it out.
So it's you, poster Joe.
Yes. And we hug for a minute, and then we both kind of like, hold each other's shoulders and kind of take a sit back a little second, and we look into each other's eyes. To this day, that was now a decade ago, I have no idea if any words came out of my mouth. No idea. Like, don't know what happened. And we both just smiled. We both just gently let go, and then off he ran, and that was it. And what was crazy is that he wrote about it the next day. So, of course, I come with visuals.
She comes with visuals.
Flip the screen. Yes. So this is the blog he wrote the day after. So I'll give you guys kind of small print. So I'll give you guys kind of a
Please.
Nothing can change that beautiful New England countryside. Second sentence. Are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I need a little.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Okay, inspired by Rat Child. This is not just water. Vintage cup. I don't know where I got this.
Oh my gosh,
way,
but
I had that.
Yeah,
I think I got that.
it. And
I
was
got something like that from McDonald's, I think.
No, so the McDonald's one. I'm so glad that you said that. Melanie.
Okay. I have that somewhere at my mom's.
What?
Here with all
That's
the
the magic.
I love it.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, the second sentence of the blog that he wrote was, nothing can wipe away the moment I had with the Joey girl holding her well-preserved New Kids poster from '89. And I was like, oh my God, stop it. Right. So to this day, he has no idea who I am. He doesn't know my name, but I've always held on to like, oh my God, I had that moment with my favorite teen idol. And the fact that I could bring him some happiness on a day that turned out to be such a shit show for so many. And it was such a hurtful day. It says here, he nothing to take away what happened 11 minutes after he ran a 3-hour and 57 Boston Marathon. So in the theory of visuals, this is what happened. That's on the marathon route. That's me holding the poster in 2013. So there's my little visual there. Okay, so that's the story behind that poster. Whoops, this video is being moderated. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I just got a notice too. Good.
Okay. So you want to see about the other picture. Well, do you want to jump to the other one, or you want to?
So I wanted to ask, okay, so you've been going to New Kids concerts since '89. Where have you seen them that you can recall?
Where have I seen them? So there is like a vault upstairs of like the bin of all the stuff. So it has like the Lynn Goldsmith photo book. It has like the original tour jacket of Hangin' Tough in '89. It has like unopened copies of like Teen Beat, because they were like, oh, I want to know Joey's favorite cookie was Oreo, like whatever. And there's probably a bunch of ticket stubs in there, but I don't like showcase or count. But I remember going to like the Magic Summer Tour of 1990, totally wore an outfit out of the house that I wasn't allowed to wear and changed maybe when I got there, not a big deal. Actually bought that dress from Patrick Petty when he was before House of Culture, before Culture Shock.
Yeah.
He was at House of Beat. So it was one of those like tank top dresses that was definitely too short.
Mm-hmm.
You know, parents wouldn't let you out of the house in it. Yeah. Yes, went to the Worcester Centrum. I see Jen Wolf commenting, went to the Worcester Centrum. It was called Great Woods, then Tweeter Center. I think it's Xfinity Center now. I would say mostly the local shows, the Boston shows, because I'm from Boston. It wasn't until this was the first year I got on a plane to go somewhere, and we'll get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So no,
Do you
tell
have
us.
a pic of that dress?
So-
Adrian, I'm sorry, I don't. There's no evidence of. You're talking about the dress from the Magic Summer?
I
No,
think so.
no, I
Yeah.
don't. No, sorry.
So, being that you've been to, obviously you're from the Boston area, you've been to the shows. Would you say that's your favorite show is like Fenway, or do you have a place that you've gone to a show that's been your favorite outside of that?
I mean, Boston is such a special place because it's their hometown and it's my hometown. So there's always like they're mine. No, they're not. They're not at all. But you have like a sense of like a greater sense of pride because
Of
you're from the
course.
place that they are.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It is a venue. If people watching have not been to Fenway to see a show, it's almost like you're in awe because they keep the baseball field kind of pristine. And you're in, like, it feels like you're in a regular stadium, but you cannot touch.
Right. So
the
fun
field.
fact, I actually used to work for NESN, which is the New England Sports Network, which way back in the 90s used to be housed inside Fenway Park. I knew that wasn't the job for me when I liked to bring my brown bag lunch in and sit in the park and watch the grounds crew mow the field. But anyway, they take great pride in taking care of the grass in the field at Fenway Park for sure. And it's such a special venue because you have, the Boston skyline, you can see the cities. Of course, you have the Citgo sign, which see it go home runs. And they always do fireworks and stuff. So it's always a pretty fantastic way to go.
So I went to the Fenway show, well, I guess now it's 2 years ago, year before last. And then there was that part of the show where they dropped down the banner. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, and my friends, like, we didn't see it coming through, just kind of like, looking around, and then we realized it was like a thing. And that was pretty epic. And I guess it was like their family, I don't know who was up there kind of like unraveling the
I don't know,
the banner, but it was also a special moment, a tradition in those shows.
Yeah.
I've always said I wish they would do like a residency at Fenway, like 3 or 4 shows, just to give as many people an opportunity to see it. It's such a cool venue, and you feel so like nostalgic being there. But there's also a lot of baseball. There's a lot going on there.
Block out shows, like they'll do New Kids one night, Aerosmith the next night, Guns N' Roses the next night. So they'll do multiple shows. We saw Fish there a couple of years ago. I mean, so it's possible. So put it in the Donnie Vault if we want a Fenway residency, because then you let the fans not only go to all your old houses, but they'll actually do some sightseeing, because we do have a lot of history here in Boston too.
Yeah.
There's a lot to see besides all the houses they grew up in.
I think that like if you wanted to do your own live, it would be cool if you had like an hour and you just went live, like unearthing all of the things in your vault and showing the fans what you have in there.
Oh gosh, that might take more than an hour, Melanie.
Well, okay, 2 hours then. What, you know what I mean? Or you could do it in parts.
The biggest thing that I actually wonder, maybe some of the Blockheads out there can tell me. At one point, I found this record store. It was in Salem, Mass. So at the time, I lived up on the North Shore, not too far from where John lives now. And I collected and still have all of these vinyl records that have like their images imprinted on them, that I'm like, these must be worth something. I don't even have a record player, so they've never been played. And it's a whole bunch of them, different songs and stuff. But anyway.
Wait, so you have them, you bought them?
Oh yeah. Bought all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds pretty special. You should definitely be curious to see. Well, I'd like to see them.
Yeah.
But to learn more about them for sure. Okay.
Boston, he just said, show us your jacket.
There's a story behind the jacket. So I got this jacket. I commissioned a piece of art that was intended for GPS night. So we'll get to the fact that I went on my first cruise this year. I had never been. I had heard about GPS night, and I'm like, hi, I have a wicked lot of Boston pride. I'm definitely rocking like the Boston. So on the front of the jacket, and I have my little vintage, bought this at my first show in '89. So I had Boston stitched on the front, and this is actually in the New Kids font.
Yep.
And on each arm is, there's my 617. That is my area code. And then this is the Boston Marathon ribbon from the marathon bombing, which I also work at MIT, and we had Officer Collier was murdered, it was all around the same time. So there's a lot of like, if you That's a whole other story for another day. But the back, let's get to more fun stuff. What? Can you see it?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
this is inspired by the backdrop from the reunion tour in 2008, because their backdrop was the NKoTB and all the Boston sports logos. And then 89, I went to my first show, 8, 9, 89. So 8 and 9 mean a lot to me. So a friend of mine made this for me. He gifted this to me. So you can't buy it because it's the logos of like the actual sports teams, but he does do great work. And his Instagram handle is Genius Jackets, like JEANIUS. And he does exceptional work. So if you guys all want like Texas rodeo bling, he makes all sorts of fun stuff. Hit him up. His name is Ben. He'll hook you up. Just say, oh, I'm a friend of Deb's. And so I got this jacket made for GPS night, but I asked him if he could get it made before the tour. So I was like, do you want me to jump into that?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. So originally, when the tour schedule came out, I looked at my calendar and I was like, oh, crap. The weekend they're playing Boston was the same weekend of a fitness conference that I had not been able to go to for several years due to the pandemic.
Right.
A side hustle, I do fitness stuff on the side. I've been doing it for like 15 years. And so I had all the intentions in the world to be in St. Louis that weekend. And I said, okay, well, let me look and see. I said to my boyfriend, I was like, honey, I know I need to get to one show at least. And so I was like, how am I going to do this? And I was like, oh, we could drive to Mohegan Sun. Speaking of Mohegan Sun tonight.
Yeah.
I was like, I will go alone. I don't care. I make friends wherever I go. And so we drove down together. It was perfect. He goes and plays cards at the casino. I go into the venue and rock it out. I'm like up in the nosebleeds. I have like a really high up seat, but I was just so psyched to just be in the building and to be in the space. And when they did the whisper and the putting their hands together and going in a circle, I was like, oh my God, I love watching them have so much fun with each other. It just was good for my soul. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm great. And then I posted a couple of videos on my Instagram saying like, oh, Griffin, the apple doesn't fall from the tree. You know, he did such a good job opening the show and stuff. And a good friend of mine saw some of my Instagrams. Her name's Caitlin. And she was like, oh, I so wish I could see this show. And I was like, Caitlin, you should go. They're playing next Friday in your hometown, where you live now. She lives in Jacksonville, Florida. She was like, oh, I'm too new down here. I don't know anybody. Like, we just moved. And I was like, get your husband to take you. She's like, he is not taking me to that. So she was the friend that I brought with me to 2011 Fenway, the NKoTB show. And we just like had so much fun. Fun fact, bumped into Mayor Menino in line for a hot dog. He was our mayor. Rest in peace, Mayor Menino. So she has a brain tumor. And she's like 8 years post-op. She's doing great, but just some days she gets a really, really bad headache. So when the New Kids played at Fenway 2017, that was the tour with Paula Abdul and Boys to Men. Were either of you guys there?
Yeah.
When it downpoured and they made a slip and slide out of the stage, that was so fun. Do you guys remember that? They were just like, it's raining, whatever. We're going to
I wasn't at that show, but I went to that tour, but not that show at Fenway. No, but I saw a video of it.
Downpour, right? It was the only important thing you needed to do is bring a Ziploc for your phone so that like your phone didn't die, right? So Caitlin was supposed to go with me to that show, and the morning of the show, she just calls me super upset. She was like, I'm having a really, really bad headache. I'm so sorry to do this day up, but I can't go. And God bless my boyfriend, Mike. He came, and everyone was like, oh my God, I can't believe the boyfriend came. He got a lot of props. So when she was saying, I really wanted to see the show, I was like, I've thought about coming down to see you, but I wouldn't want to put that kind of pressure on you. I wouldn't want to get all the way down there and have you like not feel good that day. Like, we always have if you're having a day, you're having a day, and whatever. Next scene, I have a 36-hour adventure, and I get on a plane. First time on a plane since the pandemic.
Yeah.
In 2019, since 2019, and I go on to Ticketmaster, and I had been to one show, so I understood that there were 2 stages. So I understood how to look at the map and say, okay, these would be decent seats. And I bought us a couple tickets, and I go down and I take her to the show, and we had such an incredible time. I mean, I hadn't seen her in so long, but there was a moment where I saw Big Dan. So for those that don't know, that's Danny Wood's dad. He's like, is he the official or unofficial like mayor of the fans of everybody? Like,
Like,
he and Mackie
yeah,
kind
him
of
and Mackie
but
kind of
he is
split
just
the
a
split the
doll.
job.
I met him a couple of
Yeah.
times. I had seen through social he turned 80 while on the tour. He's like on the whole tour. I'm like, that dude is on a bunk in a bus. Are you kidding me? And so I have no problem just being like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. We met like a couple years ago, whatever. He's like, oh yeah, of course. Who knows if you really
Right.
does. But so he ended up sitting coincidentally in the same row as us. So I was like, oh, I want you to meet my friend Caitlin. And as I'm like trying to introduce them, she like, I can't see or hear anything. She is so enthralled by the show. He was like, Deb, we should give her a minute. I'm like he was so sweet about it. So that's how I ended up going to a second show that I wasn't expecting. Like I thought I was one and done with Connecticut.
Isn't that the way it always is? Like you have your set number of shows, whether it's one or whatever, and then you go to that first show and then that number just spirals.
But that had never happened to me before.
Okay.
So I had never, maybe once, maybe, I don't know if it was Magic Summer Tour. There was one time back in the day, I think I hit Worcester Centrum and the Garden like in the same week, and that was a big deal.
Yeah.
But before the cruise, I had never met all of them. I have never done a bar stool. I've never had like up close and personal, unless you count the marathon hug.
Right. I count that. I definitely count that. But I want to hear about your Boston experiences this tour.
Yes.
You had 2 shows.
I wasn't planning on going to Boston because I thought I was going to be in St. Louis. And then I decided, you know what? Being inside around tens of thousands of people sweating for days on end, I'm still not comfortable with that. Like for 3 hours in a concert venue, I was still wearing a mask. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll be okay with that. So I decided, you know what, I'm not going to go to St. Louis. That's it. And I was like, okay, let me now figure out how do I get to the Boston shows.
Yeah.
So I'm reaching out to friends. Hey, do you guys have a group? Do you have a group? Do you have any tickets? I'm happy to buy a ticket, but like, I'd rather go with people I know.
Right.
And everyone was coming up short. And then out of the blue, a couple days before the show, a friend of mine just gifted me some tickets. And I thought I was paying for them. And when I got the Ticketmaster transfer, it said 0. And I was like, stop it. Come on. Very generous. I owe her a lot of wine. So I go to that show, and I have some notes here, so don't mind if I'm looking down here. The next series of events that occurred can only be explained as completely serendipitous because I entered the venue with some balcony seats. Earlier in that week, I happened to bump into a friend of mine that works at the State House. I had to get sworn in to be a notary, different story, but I hadn't seen her in a really long time. And when I saw her, we were saying, oh my God, we're both going to the New Kids show. And she always gets wicked good seats. She's like, knows somebody who knows somebody that she's in. We always see each other from far. And it was like, all right, we can have fun. And
you're like up there waving and she's,
but regardless, I'm psyched. I'm in the building. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
I'm in my balcony seats and I get a text. Something happened. She can't go. She's like, do you want my tickets? Yes, I do. Where are you?
Yeah.
Like it was instant, right? And so it was, okay, leave the balcony, figure out how to get down to the venue. I asked the venue staff, what do I do? They were like, whatever you do, don't go through the turnstile because you won't get back into the building. And I was like, oh crap. Okay. So I somehow sweet talk somebody at a turnstile to explain the situation. She deactivates my electronic ticket, which would let me get back in. God bless that woman, whoever she is. I go outside the venue. I see my friend. She's all distraught because of their situation, which I still feel terrible about. But I just said, I'm so sorry for what happened, but I'm so grateful. Thank you. So I'm with one of my friends, and I take the tickets and we go inside. And she's like, where are we going? I'm like, I don't know. We're just going to ask somebody, hey, where do we go for these? And they're walking us and walking us and walking us. Oh my God. Stop it. Let's get the next visual.
This, honest to God, this is one of my favorites.
So, that's me
Blockhead.
in the first seat behind the bar stools on the floor. Oh, that's my friend Joey. It looks like he put his finger in his light socket because his hair looks crazy. But
that happened a couple times.
And the shirt I'm wearing is completely ridiculous. So I wore that night. Of course, I had to wear the jean jacket. But the T-shirt that I had on, I don't know what year it was. Someone made me a T-shirt of my 8th grade class photo, like full of braces, and a picture of Joe from Teen Beat, like on the same T-shirt. Like, so one.
And back then, you know, the t-shirt making technology was very, very, very
like
basic.
Matrix, right?
No,
like,
yeah.
right. So I could not believe where we were. I had never been that close to a stage before. I had never had an opportunity for them to actually look into my eyeballs as they're singing. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening, right? Like, I never experienced that level of euphoria and couldn't understand how all the pieces of the puzzle aligned. And I'm a pretty fit person, right? My resting heart rate's like 60. Like right now, we're chatting about all these fun memories. It says I'm at 116, just like talking about it, okay? The first second that they hit the stage that Friday night in Boston, I was like, let's just see what it is. I literally saw 156 on my Fitbit. Like,
I'm almost in the orange zone.
like
I'm
let's just breathe for a second. And as Adrian and Chris would say, let's have a drink.
Someone just said, NKoTB meow crew just said once you get you can't go back to the round.
So you can. So the Meow Meow crew is part of another thank you I have a little further down in my notes because we get to them once we get on the cruise. They are wonderful. They immediately welcomed me with open arms. And it was a very different perspective that I had never experienced. And I had met so many people over the years that have gotten bar stools and done meet and greets and done like, I only sit super close. And I'm like, I don't understand how does that happen? And now that I have experienced it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Okay. So I get home and I'm talking to Mike and he was like, oh my God, that's awesome. I'm so psyched that you had that experience. He's like, well, you're not going to go tomorrow night, are you? Because they had 2 nights in Boston. And I was like, I mean, I don't have a ticket, but I can't imagine not going.
Right.
Like, it's Boston. It's the last night of our hometown. Like, how could I not go? Like, I just take the freaking tea there. Like, come on, stop it. So the next day, I go to the venue without a ticket. I go to the box office. So fun fact, for those of you that don't know, any venue, whether it's a sporting event or a concert, a lot of times the team, the band, whatever, they hold back tickets for their friends or family or their staff or whatever. If they don't use those, they give them back to the house. It's very risky because sometimes it doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. So I just went up to the box office. Hi, what do you guys have tonight? Do you guys have anything from the band? Well, why don't you come back in like a half hour? I was like, okay, go get myself something to eat, come back. Hey, it's me again. Hey, what do you have? And he's showing me the map and he's showing me, well, you can sit way up here. And I was like, you know what? I'm only 5 feet tall. I don't want to spend that much and sit that far. I don't need like, you know, I understand I'm not going to get a bar stool for Christ's sake, but like, let's see what we can do. And I was like, I don't know. And then he handed me a free ticket. And he just said, enjoy the show. So I literally still have a Post-it note on my desk because I'm trying to figure out if this generous young man is a recovering alcoholic or not, because I would like to gift him a very large basket of booze, but it's a very inappropriate gift if someone is a recovering alcoholic. So I'm trying to find out. I have a couple more. The venue keeps giving me the runaround, but
so you're trying to find out who this person is, first of all, right?
Well,
know his?
I know his first name. I don't know his last name. So I have a few friends. Like, I'm reaching out to my old radio pals to be like, hey, can you help me out at this venue? I'm trying to find out. So I go to the show, I'm in club seats, and then I start, going on social, like, hey, I'm here by myself. Like, do I know anybody that's here? And I see like, oh, this girl I went to high school with, oh, this girl I worked with at 2 radio stations ago is here. Hey, where are you? I go and see them. We hug each other. It's wonderful. And then as the show's going on, we're getting near the end of the show, and I was like, I just feel compelled.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah.
When you say club seats, where is that?
So the club section is above the loge. So like you have the floor, the loge is like the first raised level. The club is like above that, where like all the what do you call those? The luxury boxes are.
Okay.
And then above that is the balcony. So you're kind of midway height, top to bottom. And I was probably midway width of the venue. So I was like in between.
And you were off to the side, right? Yeah. Kind of close to the stage though, but off to the side.
Not close to the stage.
Okay.
Like, Yeah, but I mean, halfway with, halfway out.
Got it. Okay.
And I had knew what it felt like the night before, being right down there on the floor, and I was like, I know I can't get down there, but I want to get just a little closer just for the last couple songs. So I find my way down to a random loge section, and some people had started to leave, so there was like empty seats and no one was checking tickets. So I just kind of like found myself in a row and was dancing and meeting people in that row. And then I knew from the night before I didn't want to get stuck in the crowd. I was there by myself. I didn't want to miss the last T. So the T is the MBTA, which is our subway.
Yeah.
Massachusetts State Transportation Authority,
Okay.
for those that need trivia. And so I went to leave. So I get up, I turn my back to the stage, and the numbers on the back of the jacket are the Patriot font. So they have the silver that outline the red, which I'm thinking must have picked up some light.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's the only way that, like, I heard Donnie say, "Nobody's leaving the building. This is Boston. Get your ass on stage." I was like, are you talking to me? He's like, "Yeah, you."
So you were that person who got called out by Donnie for trying to leave the show during Bring Back the Time.
Yes. And something in my brain was like, when he said that, I said, "Okay, Deb, now is your time. Now we go." And I just started to walk. And I knew enough to turn my phone on. So there's like a little video of like my feet going down the steps. And I was like, okay, whatever it is, like, be in the moment. And I get up there and the music
get up where?
On the stage.
On the stage. She is on the stage now.
In the Boston Garden, in my hometown, right? And I'm thinking about my friend from high school that I just saw like 20 minutes ago, and like my friend Sally that like is over there. And the music hit, and I just started dancing. I have no idea what I did. I have no idea what I said, but I had my phone in my hand. So I'm walking over to like Rick Astley, and he's singing into my phone. I'm walking over to Salt and Pepper being like, "You ladies are fabulous." I'm going over. D Nice comes out. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm like dancing with D Nice, and I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, I wanted to bow to that man. I didn't. I actually figured out afterwards. I ended up giving Rick Astley a curtsy before I left. Don't know where that and I just danced with all the love in my heart. And then I walked over to Joe and I was like, "Can we get a selfie?" And he's like, "You realize you're not recording, right?" What? Right.
Oh, no.
Right. So I had one picture, which was that picture with Joe, which, this week the new kids did a like poster selfie from the tour. So I posted that earlier today. And that's what I put out on social media. I said to my Facebook, to my Instagram, and then I had started to join like some of the Facebook groups, like for the cruise and the tour, that I basically said, "Listen, this thing just happened to me. Was anybody in the building? Does anybody have any footage?" And when I tell you guys that like the fans showed up, strangers that I had never met, people were stopping me like outside the venue, some of whom I ended up bumping into and spending time with on the cruise, which was amazing. I like took the tea home and like the whole car started dancing because they're like, "Wait, you were the girl on the stage." And we like started dancing in the tea. Like it was insane. So it was an absolute Teen Beat daydream come true that you literally only imagine when you're 14 and your room is covered in Teen Beat posters, that you're like, one day I'm going to dance with all of them. And okay, that happened.
But who would have actually thought, okay, like going back to 1989, if somebody, we came in from the future and was like, "Okay, Deb, in the year 2022, you are going to be on stage dancing with all 5 of the new kids on the block, plus Rick Astley and D Nice and Salt and Pepper and all Vogue." Like,
so yeah, with Rick Astley, I'm pretty sure we were like bumping butts and dancing at some
as we do, yeah.
But what the best compliment I got after the fact was people saying how much fun it was to watch the guys having fun with how excited I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And John was like, "Oh my God, I love that jacket. Can I have your jacket?" I'm like, "You cannot have my jacket. I want it for you." So I have to, I guess now bring you over to the other video section. Let's turn this around. So this is my Hanukkah present that I bought myself. Thank you so much to
Oh,
our good friend
Oh
who
my-
signed it.
Paris.
that
Paris
is
took the
amazing.
photo, so she
That's
put out a thing saying if you want to print. So I have that now hanging on my wall, and of course, next to it I have the actual ticket. Oh, there's a $0 on that. Shut up! Stop it!
So what? Okay, but can you zoom in on the shirt that you're wearing?
Oh, right. So I had a shirt
Yeah.
made of. Can I zoom in on that while I'm there? We go. Of the picture I had at the marathon.
Oh,
So I would wear that like when I would go to see Joe do Broadway. And so I was like, well, I guess I should wear it to one of these shows. So I was wearing that shirt when I was on stage. Yeah.
so I was telling her the other day what she has to do. She has to get this picture into a t-shirt for the next time she meets them, right? So that she's wearing them dancing with the shirt, her wearing the shirt, holding the Joe, and that just goes on and on and on and on.
And
right?
it goes on and on and on and on. So yeah, I would wear that shirt. And I've had several of them made because I just have gone through a few of them. But I wore that when Joe did Waitress in 2019. So again, God bless Mike, best boyfriend ever. He gets us front row seats for Waitress on Broadway. And we're sitting there, and Joe comes out, and I'm like grabbing Mike's thigh. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. What does Mike say? Oh my God, it's Joey Lawrence. Stop it.
No.
Can't take him anywhere.
You know,
Oh
you
no.
can train them, but you can try to train them. Doesn't mean they're actually going to learn, right?
And I did share, I have one more visual here, a couple other pictures from
Oh my God.
on my social from that folks gave. Like stuff.
You literally, you're running the stage. You're just like, you do this, and you do this. Like, follow me.
The Donnie role. You were the hype person on the stage.
So the ironic thing is, I'd never been in a situation like that before. Most people have, right?
No.
Who's ever been?
It's so difficult to put into words because I couldn't, like when Donnie was talking, I literally, like the audio in my brain stopped working. I heard no words. It wasn't until people sent me video footage afterwards that I heard what he was saying. I didn't even say hello to Donnie or thank him or hug him. There's video of me like doing a picture with Joe, and then Danny's like thinking we're gonna get a picture next, and then literally you see Danny go, oh. I had no idea I did that. I felt so bad. But I got to apologize to him at the cruise, and he was like, yeah, whatever. We were just having fun. I was like, oh, yeah. And he was the first one I met. I went to his pop-up shop that was at the hotel. To go from thinking I was going to go to one show and was totally happy with just being in the balcony at Mohegan Sun by myself while Mike's at the casino playing cards. Great. Turned into 4. And the last night I went with no ticket and ended up
on stage. The 6th member of the New Kids on the Block, basically, like somebody put in the chat.
Oh, somebody put that in there.
That was Carla. So listen, okay. So you then decided to go on the cruise. So the 2020 cruise was your very, very first cruise. Yeah. How or why did you decide that this would be the year?
Hold on for 1 second. Honey, can you turn that down? I'm on a live.
You are my favorite. This is
so years
crazy.
ago, I was introduced to someone through a friend of a friend that says, oh, you have to meet this person. They love the New Kids. I think even more than you do. You have to just meet them. And it was someone else in the Boston area. So we met for lunch, and she was telling me all about the cruise. And I was like, no way, that is crazy. What are you talking about? And just dismissed it. I was like, that's too much money. That sounds like an insane experience. I just don't think that's for me. Like, I'm good. And didn't even think about it again. So fast forward to this last year. My boyfriend Mike had a coworker. He had to fly down to New Orleans for some business, and he texts me when he gets there, and he's like, Dad, I found you a Blockhead. I was like, what are you talking about? Is she going to a mixtape tour? 5 seconds later, there's a picture of her, shit-eating grin on her face, with her mobile ticket, like, of course I'm going to the mixtape tour. And so I have a new friend. Her name is Vicky, and she lives in New Orleans. We didn't really exchange any information until we learned she was going to be flown up to Boston for 2 weeks to train at their company. And I was okay, send her a message. We haven't met in real life. I know we don't know each other, but as a Boston blockhead, it is my duty to show you around. So I cleared my calendar for the weekend. We had her over for dinner one night, and I threw her in my car. And all weekend, I had to like go through my archives to figure out like where the hell did they all live. I don't think I got all the addresses right, but I took her to most of them. I took her to all the houses they grew up in. I took her to like 3 different Wahlburgers. We had lunch at Novara. I took her to the Boston Marathon finish line and drove her up Newbury Street and showed her Boston Commons and the Make Way for Ducklings and a little bit of Boston history, but basically, here's where Joe went to Catholic Memorial High School. You could take it, and every place she'd get out and take a picture like in front of the house. And at the time, the Knight's house was for sale. So I don't know how many people it's gone through since then. And I think that Joe's first house was under construction. So you saw like the permit in the window kind of thing. But she was just like, oh my God, I never thought that I would have this experience. This has been amazing. And what she did is she brought her hardcover coffee table photo books that she had made because she had been on the cruise a couple times. And basically she was one of those people that like, you know how you can meet someone and you instantly just feel their positive, inclusive, welcoming energy that you were like, I need you in my life. Like whoever you are, like you are my people. And because there are some people that you meet and you're just like, okay, you're cool. Like do your thing. Like that's cool. Like you're like, I need you in my life. Yeah. And so when she was just like, yeah, you know what? You just need to come with us. And I didn't even hesitate. And I just said, okay. So she was already going with a couple of girls. She reached out to Rose Tours. Apparently there was one quad left on the boat and we got it. That ended up turning into 2 rooms because she then had to have back surgery and she needed to have her sister come. So we ended up being 2 rooms and 5 of us at the end of it. But these ladies welcomed me with open arms. I'd only met Vicky that one time when she came to Boston. I hadn't met anybody else. So we did a few Zoom chats to get to know each other. And of course, then all the planning. Yeah. They are super creative. And I was sort of like the idea person. And then they were able to bring it to life and make things happen. Like I was like, for Love Eternal, we should be huge candy hearts like that you give out that says like, you know, hug me or kiss me, except we had like mine said Joey Girl, and we had each one had a New Kid, and the back was a lyric from a New Kid song that was about love. So I of course had Favorite Girl, and the front of them we had lit up and it had a battery pack and it blinked. And so when we got back to the room the first night and we saw that the New Kids gave us candy hearts,
right? The candies.
Oh my God.
Were you like, I manifested this? We manifested this.
That's
So, okay. So you were on the cruise. It's your very, very first cruise. And you had a moment with Donnie on the Lido deck one night that kind of ties back to your experience on the stage, right? So what was that all about?
Yes, I do want to get to that. I do want to say before I get to that.
Okay.
Leading up to it, I started listening to, and I just discovered Rat Tail. Huge shout out to Adrian and Chris. Yeah. And not met either of them, but I would be watching their episodes on the T on the way to work at like 6:30 in the morning, busting out, laughing out loud, having strangers being like, what the hell is she listening to? And then I'm messaging Adrian, be like, oh my God, that episode was so funny. You had me laughing out loud. So to be able to like meet them, and so when I went to go meet them, we had exchanged, here's our rooms. So I go to find her room. And did you guys go to their room where you could vote for the Cox?
No, I couldn't. Yeah. No, I didn't.
You could put your name. I put my full name. I didn't just write Deb. I was like Deb Shaffron. So I knocked on their door, but they weren't home. But that's where I met Chrissy from the Meow Meow crew.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She immediately was like, you know, okay, you're one of us. She literally makes me an honorary meow meow and gives me the ears with the blinkies. And I was like, oh my God, I'm one of you. To the point that like somehow at some point when Adrian was walking around with a bottle of Patron, we're all doing shots together. I was like, little did I know when I was watching YouTube on the Red Line that I'd be having shots with these people and having the time of my freaking life. Yeah. I also want to say before I get into anything else that about the cruise that like, I was really self-aware of the fact that this was my first one. So I met so many people that had been on all 11 that have gone every year, and they're like summer camp. They're seeing their old buddies that they only see then, right? Or the people that had been the last few times and they really missed it because they knew what they were missing. I was like a clean slate. So I didn't have anything to compare to. I'd heard about stuff. I had been following all like the posts to prepare for it, but like you really don't, you can prepare as much as you want, but once you're in it, it hits you different. And it depends on where you came from and your history and what they mean to you now. There's something that happens with the energy exchange that transpires in their presence. It's really hard to articulate. It's something that's felt, that experienced, that it can only happen if you're in the space to participate in it in the moment. And that's exactly how what Donnie was talking about the last time he came into your live on, was it Sunday after the documentary? That's exactly like how I was like, you have to just be there to be in it and to be receptive to the experience in front of you. One of the things I did is I intentionally did not get a Wi-Fi package. I was like, if I get a Wi-Fi package, I'm going to be on my phone the whole time, and that's when somebody's going to walk by and I'm going to miss an experience. And I made myself be really, really present. It was hard, but I feel like I got so much more out of it because I didn't do that. So
maybe that's a cruise tip right there.
Maybe
okay, but just like, how did you keep in touch? Like, how did you keep in touch with all of your friends then when you had to meet up with a
whole lot of people? So I had like, I didn't know a whole lot of people.
But your roommates, right? Your pals that
called each other on the phone from room to room, or we intentionally brought a stack of Post-it notes.
Right. Yes.
And left them outside the room, so we would leave a note like, went to breakfast and meet us at the buffet.
Okay.
Or went to go check out the shop, or
you know what, that's probably more reliable.
And I've heard people bought it and then like it didn't really work, and then people chat and sometimes it didn't work. So but I think overall, like, the guys were so humble and kind and generous and appreciative, and they gave their friends absolutely everything they had for 4 days. Like, if you think that you've experienced a lot at a concert, you being in the space where John's kind of drunk and it's kind of fun to watch, right? Like,
go taking shots up on the stage on the Lido, like it's peak, like you said earlier, it's summer camp, right? Like, it feels like, but it's also summer camp where like the camp counselors are pretty amazing, and they try to
summer
get
camp
good,
after hours,
a good time
where the camp counselors are kind of off duty maybe, and
when we were initially loving them, we were saving our allowance to buy merch. The merch table. Now we can buy our own cocktails.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a very different experience when you're, yes, it's a very different experience. So there was a moment, so like the Lido deck was on deck 9. That's where like the stage and stuff was. And then for those that haven't been, deck 10 kind of like went around the perimeter that you could see everything down, but you weren't as jam-packed, where our group just kind of liked to hang out up there. You could like flail around and dance, and you weren't bumping into anybody. And at one point, Donnie walked kind of right past us, and it was just him and one of his security guys. And I just, hey, Donnie. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I owe you an apology. Now, mind you, I didn't even say, hi, my name is Deb. Nope, didn't even nope. Just, he's like, for what? And I said, listen, I was one of the people that you brought up on stage in Boston. I was out of my mind. I never had experienced something like that. It was, thank you for making my teen daydream come true, but I didn't even say hello to you. I didn't thank you. And it has been eating me up since. And he just put his hand on my shoulder, and he looked in my eyes, and he said, Deb. He didn't say Deb because he didn't know my name. He's in my mind. I think he knows my name. He just said, don't sweat what went wrong. Celebrate what went right. What? In that moment, any kind of angst or guilt or like anxiety I had about like not being grateful in his eyes, gone. And let me tell you, that mantra, I tell everybody because it applies to anything in life. Okay? Let's all apply it to freaking yesterday.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, there was that. Yesterday, she and I were in touch, and I said, by the way, did you get tickets to the after party and breakfast? She's like, no. Did you? And I said, no. It's like, oh, bummer. And then she, dropped, she's full. She's, the blockhead equivalent of Johnny, basically, with all these words of wisdom. She dropped a couple words of wisdom. She's like, you know what? We're going to be there. We get to experience Carnegie. That's pretty epic. We get to be in that building. We have to be grateful for that.
Didn't get to get tickets to Carnegie, so let's just be grateful that we're going to be in the building.
Yeah.
We're going to be in New York, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to be in the space. Put it out into the universe. Things can happen, right? You never know. If you envision it, if you manifest it, if you put it out into the universe, it's possible. You can't expect that anything else is going to happen, right, but be open to the possibility.
Mm-hmm. I saw an amazing hack the other day that I've been living by for about 3 weeks, and it's literally true. Every time anything good or bad happens to you, you go, everything always works out for me. Just say that to yourself. No matter what happens, you get a flat tire, you go, everything always works out for me. Next, you're single, and the guy who comes to fix your tire is hot. I don't know. It's a whole thing. I'm just saying, I've been trying to live that way for 3 weeks, and like Sunday, Donnie came on her live, and I was like, everything always works out for me.
Okay, I'm gonna try that starting
so
right now. This, everything works out for me. You're flying to Boston.
You can fly to Boston, Melanie, wherever you want to come.
So you're flying to New York. You have tickets to Carnegie. That is the start of something amazing. No matter if you get to the after party or the brunch, everything always works out for you. Mm-hmm. It will work out for you if you believe it. You might meet David Beckham on the street. I don't know.
It's very random. What David Beckham?
Okay. That his wife was on. So maybe that's it.
Okay, so Johnny says this to you.
Yeah.
Wait, repeat again what he says.
Don't sweat what's wrong. Celebrate what went right. Mic drop.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I did another funny moment with him that was totally random. And before I went on the cruise, my aunt, as you in Pennsylvania probably say aunt. We say aunt up here. My aunt was like, listen, if you get to see that Donnie Wahlberg, will you please tell him that your 74-year-old Aunt Lenny thinks he's fantastic. I love watching him in that Blue Bloods show, right? Okay, Lenny. So like the stairs go down and then they meet in the middle and they come down again, right? So at one point it was on Bring Back the Time night. So I'm dressed as a gem in the hologram in a purple wig and crazy makeup. And I happened to walk down a flight of stairs at the same time with him. And I just say, hey, Johnny, my Aunt Lenny thinks you're really fantastic. She loves you in Blue Bloods. And then off he went. Like that was the whole exchange. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to say anything. I got to tell her that he heard that. And she was like, oh, that's so exciting. There's only 4 more hours until the next episode comes on. Like she's all psyched, right? It was until Donnie posted that link to his 4,000 plus selfies. I was taking a photo while I was telling him about my Aunt Lenny.
Oh. So, okay, dare I ask them, because we've been asking this of everybody who was on this last cruise, what was your most legendary moment on the cruise? Did you already tell us about it, or is there something else even more incredible?
I'm going to say thank you to Brandy for getting the video footage at 3:43 in the morning on the last night. We did not go to sleep. I don't think I even stayed up all night when I was in college. Like I was the nerd that was like, right? Like dancing and holding hands with Johnny on the Lido deck. And he's like, got his arm on my shoulder. And he's like kind of looking at the jacket for a second. Cause it's GPS night. So of course I had the jacket on. That's the whole point of why I hadn't made it. And every time I hear shots, 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 I'm transported to being on stage with him, or not on stage, being in the deck, and we're like holding hands and dancing. And it's one of those moments that you have to be present for, and you just ready to participate in. Yeah. And then it was kind of like when Joe left for the marathon, right? Like he just off he went, and there he went, and that was okay. Go do you, boo. Off to the next. It's fun. I've been watching since the cruise. I've been like diving into so many other people have great content. Like I've been digging into Dope Nostalgia and My So-Called and listening to all their stuff, and I'm loving all their stuff. It's been great to have podcasts on a drive when you can't watch a YouTube. So I got to catch up on Rat Tail now that I'm caught up on, anyway. But they would have people talking about their cruise experiences. And it was really cool to hear that other people also had that same experience that I did, but in their own unique way. And, you know, when I saw all those people like on the stage and doing their thing on the cruise, like I heard some people being like, oh, I should be up there. I should be up there. I was like, no, man, be happy for them that they are getting that experience. Celebrate them. And that was one thing that the new kids, I feel like, did and do so well. They celebrate their fans. I don't know if they ever did it before, but the fact that they had the fans do the tips for the cruise, that was like a series beforehand. What to pack, what not to pack. Oh my God, chair chatter. Were they the ones that had the vibrator and they don't pack that? Love those girls. That was great. It highlighted and showcased the fans, but the fans are the ones that know the best to say, make sure you pack your sail away and your carry-on. Don't chuck it because you might not get your bag and then you'll be naked at the sail away party, right? Like, so
because at that point, you know, you want to hear from experts, right? Like we know what it's like being on the boat as like a normal person, right? And we want to hear, we want tips from each other.
But when you're on that boat, nobody's normal. Like it's
okay, listen, yeah, if we've gotten on the boat, we're a certain level of not normal.
It's an alternative universe where you're immediately surrounded by all these people that you never knew existed that love them as much as you do, and you're like, what
Even better though, you're like in the pool and you you're in this business, I'm in this business. Oh, you have kids, I have kids. Oh, you were at this concert stop at the specific time. I was there too. Like that's, Melanie and I have never met. Like, but we only connected through.
I'm meet Melanie on Saturday. Hopefully
we'll make it happen for sure.
Yeah. That's the fun of this. I think the people who are truly part of this fan base who take it to heart, it's about celebrating each other, finding our connections, meeting each other in these ways. You know, the fact that, like you said, you've got the YouTubers, you've got the podcasters, you've got the Instagrammers, you've got the TikTokers, like you've got just the regular fans who just want to be there to experience all of it. It's really special. And, you know, I think Brian was just on here who joined us last week on Wednesday, and I met him and his wife at the 5-star VIP in Lincoln, Nebraska. And now I do consider them very close friends, and we've met twice in person, the cruise and that Lincoln concert. It's like, this fan base is
and you'll
cool.
Find the people that you gravitate toward, and then you're going to want to hold them close. And the next time something comes up, hey, you want to do this with me? Right.
You know that they're gonna be in. They're in for it, right? Yes.
Yeah. And it's not like a maybe, it's like a F yes.
Yeah. We'll figure out the details later. Right. Yes. Just sign me up.
Right.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so glad you were here tonight. So tell us, what is one thing that you hope for your new kids' future? Like in the next year, what is something you really hope for?
Cruise advice, because I wrote them down on my notes and it was on my,
Please, yeah.
The best advice I got was to have no expectations.
Yeah.
Because if I had thought
number one,
with packing cubes, a close second.
What's that?
Everybody who's offered tips here on our lives most people have said have no expectations. And then the second most common answer has been get packing cubes. They're great in your luggage. Yeah,
for sure. That's like a no-brainer. But to be really open and present and positive. And you'll find that you'll draw the people toward you who are like that, and that you'll just like be sitting at the pool and talking to somebody and have a great conversation with someone that you may never have come across. Expect to be elatedly exhausted and plan to take a couple of days off afterwards to recover. So like my body clock was opposite. I was literally up until the time that I usually get up to like work out before going to work. Like my whole body clock was opposite. And
that's true, right? You're used to unwinding, if not being asleep during the day, and then being awake and on it in
Yes.
the evenings or at night / early morning.
2 other things.
Yeah.
Bring some kind of a hydration multiplier. So there's lots of brands out there. I think we had Liquid IV. It was like a powder that you mix with your water. That was our like morning cocktail before we even left the room. And it just helped you rehydrate. And then I can't live without my Energize. Like my pre-workout, I was like 9 p.m. I actually had a bunch of them in my jacket. And I would
Do you just down it, just the powder itself? Can you do that?
No, I do it with water. I do. You know people that do that though.
Yeah.
But at some point, like I had a bunch in my jacket and I'd walk up to like security. I'd be like, Dennis, you need a little pick me up? He's like, what are you talking about? Totally natural. I'm not talking about drugs. But it'll kick in about 15 minutes and you'll be good for like 6 hours. He's like, yeah. And then at some point, like a couple of them, this guy Rodney, he's like, do you have another one of those? Can I get another one of those? Because if you're not used to staying up that late, the adrenaline will kick in, but it only will take you so far.
Right.
I don't know.
I find sometimes the come down is kind of hard, right? After the partying's over, it's like, 6 a.m. and you're just like, okay, I got to go to sleep. The excitement is so high that it's hard to calm down.
I don't know. Like I hit the pillow and I'm out, maybe because I'm old now. I don't know.
I just find that like when I just want to still like do all the things. Like, yeah, let's go get ice cream. Let's go find food. Let's keep it. There's always something else I want to do. When it's time to go to sleep, when my head hits the pillow, I'm asleep. But, yeah.
And the last piece of advice is to lean into what brings you genuine happiness in your life. If this is something that you feel drawn to, that you feel compelled to, go. Make it happen. And it's expensive, but it is worth every single penny. You're asking about what bucket list or what I'm looking forward to?
No, so we have a lot of promises, like the Q&A on Sunday. It was very specific, like, hey, it's 15 years in, we have a lot planned for you. So like what is your dream for what that might look like?
Right, for 2020. So I have never had a bar stool, so it sounds like that will have to wait for another year. I already have a friend that's, would you do it? I'm like, F yeah, sign me up, we're good. Melanie, you said you're not going to the rodeo, right?
No.
Yeah, so I'm with Melanie. I'm not like a rodeo girl. I'm good, like not going to that. I'm sure it's great for the people that want to go, but I feel like for me, I need to pick and choose what I'm going to go to. And especially it's hard when you don't know what the announcements are yet. But this is where I have faith that whatever is about to come is the thing that I'm going to feel compelled to go to. And I'm trusting the universe with that. And I'm starting to save for whatever that mystery item is.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. I just hope that they will give us a little more notice than Joe did yesterday. Love you, but really, buddy.
We like to focus on the positive here. A lot of people in the comments have plenty of conversations that could be had about what happened yesterday.
Maybe it was intentional and it showed him the immediacy of the intensity of his draw. If that he needed any kind of confirmation, buddy, check it off. You're good.
Right.
But who knows? I think he'll probably do some more theater this year, right? Joe will do something.
The theaters are wide open now too, so like I would love it if he would go back to like Wicked or even the Music Man's like up and running again. Like
over the huge.
I have so many things.
Did any of you see him do Shakespeare at the Red Bank Theater?
No.
Oh, that was pretty cool. I was like, Johnny Mac doing Shakespeare? Okay.
I'm a theater girly, so like I would. The next time he announces he's on Broadway,
you have to go. And he was really, really good about coming out afterwards and like saying hi to everybody and making sure everybody got a picture. He really took the time to appreciate everybody that came, which I thought was super nice. So I think you had asked me about a bucket list, right?
Yeah. So what's your bucket list as a fan in general? You mentioned you haven't done a bar stool, so you'd like to do that.
And a proper meet and greet. Like I did the meet and greet on the cruise, right?
Right.
First time going through the coveted 5 new kids and 10 fans and 2 of us on each side, right? And I'm not going to lie. Got a little liquid courage before I went through that line.
Yeah, you almost have to, especially if it's your first time. Like, you need a little.
Was first.
It's scary.
He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "I'm not gonna lie, I'm coming in a little hot." Pretty sure I said to Joe, Joe, again, didn't say, "Hi, I'm Deb. It's nice to meet you." No, I just said, for all the times that we've met, thank you sincerely for making me believe that you know who I am, because I buy it every single time. And then I just moved on. I don't know if he had a response. I would say, so I kind of feel like you guys can maybe tell me, do you get a little more time? Was it like a rushed thing on the cruise as far as like the photo op in the meet and greet, or are they all that quick?
No, yeah, I think on the cruise, because especially on this cruise, it was all on one day. There was that added pressure, right? To get everyone done. I've noticed on the tour, you might be able to get like a little bit more time. Again, nothing like super, you're not having like a deep and personal, but
you could get like,
no. I would say they're almost the same amount of time, but they're not as tired on the tour, so it feels more intentional. But really still a cattle call kind of a situation. But I do remember at least one of my meet and greets on the tour feeling like I could have a conversation with each of them, but it was still very brief, like not a, that's where now I'm like, I need to do an ultimate. I need to have a little bit more time.
Would be a bucket list item, but I feel like that's a little bit of a reach. I feel like I need to kind of do baby steps. Like, okay, well, let me do like a bar stool first, and then maybe if they do like a party pit again, I have a lot of friends who did those and said that was super fun. I think that would be a great way to grow. But as far as a bucket list, I would want like a conversation with Joe. To be able to like express to him how much happiness he has given me like for decades. And like when you think about why we like fell in love with them when we were kids, right? And why we do now, or what they mean to us now. And I would go back to that experience at the marathon, as crazy as that was. There was a minute that I was able to bring him some happiness, which to me blows my mind, because it's like to be able to reciprocate just a little bit of that, especially on that day before we knew what was going to happen. Like, I don't know, that means like a ton to me, and I would just want to like be able to express that to him.
And having, I've run a couple of marathons, and Debbie and I were talking about this yesterday, that like having people cheer you on, people who are there for you, the signs, all that means so much when you're trying to get through the kilometers for me. The marathon, it means so much. So I have no doubt that when he saw you, that really got him through the rest of this race for sure.
And that was early on. That was only mile 8.
It was only mile 8. Yeah.
That was a pretty flat stretch. But I think in general, what they give to us is such a gift that they make us feel seen. And for as much as we look up to them, right? I don't know about you guys, my room was covered in posters.
Including the ceiling,
Including the ceiling. So actually, fun fact, instead of just putting them on the ceiling, I made double-sided poster boards, and then I put a pinhole in them and stuck them so they hung and rotated in my room. So, wait, hold on. So the other thing in my home office, since we're in my home office, this was the first thing I hung up. Hold on. When I mailed in a VHS to Joey in the 80s, I got this back. Hold on. This in my office.
Such good.
Stop.
Oh.
So it's a big step production.
Look at Jordan's pose. Okay. Oh, it's so adorable.
Yeah. So so I got an autograph from Joey for mailing in, and now I'd be like horrified if anybody saw that video. Be like, okay.
So you're in your home office and you do work remotely sometimes, right? So what we're seeing right now, when you're having your work meetings, your colleagues are seeing that poster. Have you ever had somebody like what? what do you say? Like, have you ever had anybody who's negative
Good
and
question.
said, why do you have a Joe McIntyre poster behind you? What would your response be?
I always get ahead of it by saying, hi, I'm Deb. And just so you know, I unapologetically love the New Kids on the Block. So they just are part of who I am. And anytime you want to know any fun facts, I could probably still rattle off the McIntyre siblings in birth order. But I'm just saying they're fun. They're part of my life and they bring me a lot of joy, and that's it.
And it is what it is.
Yeah.
Deal with it, right?
Yeah.
And Ashley, you know, on that video that you posted, I think yesterday, where that on TikTok, that person commented about how you spend your money. You said, you know, well, what about people who would you say the same thing to a fan of a sports team buying season tickets? And we've mentioned this before. How is this any different? Like, sports fans do not get dragged, right?
Yes, my front door, Minnesota Vikings purple. My husband matched to his flag. The second they come on the field, the first game, we have a Vikings flag in our yard. Why can't I do that on the block? Why can't I put life-size blow-ups of them in elf costumes for Halloween? Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We all have our thing, and no more ridiculous
and how
than
lucky
anything people are obsessed with.
Thing.
Right?
How?
Yes.
I think we picked a pretty good thing.
And for how long, right? Like I mean, in my lifetime, this is not Menudo. They don't change out band members. This is the original group where each and every one of them are part of like the microcosm that makes them possible, right? Like it can't exist without every single one of them.
Right.
And
and without every single one of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, because I've had folks express this to me and I've felt it myself and I've kind of gotten on the other side of it. And I hope that this helps someone else who either is watching live or watches the replay. You are no less of a fan because you aren't able to do all the things that you see everybody else doing that make you love them any less. My advice is to enjoy the experiences that others are willing to share and live vicariously through their footage and their photos and their stories until you're able to get yourself there. And if you feel compelled, figure out a way. Start a savings account that you start throwing money into. Do a side hustle. I've had a side hustle since I was 14, one form or another. Because whatever it is, pick what you, like I said, you have to pick and choose what you want to go to. Pick your thing, commit to it, and go all in. And that's what I did with this crew. I had never been. Thank God these girls that I went with were like all about the matchy costume outfits. And I was like, if we're doing the thing, let's do the thing. And yes, we're going to do it. How much the guys were into their costumes, that they had so much fun with it and were playful with it. It's so hard to describe. What does Donnie say? If you don't know what this is about, you're missing the F out, right? And I feel like that applies to all of it. So to not like beat yourself up or feel like left out or feel like, oh, I didn't get tickets to Joey's after party or breakfast. So what? So what? That means you weren't meant to go in that case. And if you are, the universe will present it and something will transpire. And if you don't, maybe you were meant for some other experience that you never would be able to have because you were there. You know, Melanie and I didn't get tickets. Maybe we're going to go ending up on like Coyote Ugly somewhere, right? Like 90s, you never know. We'll get my video footage in.
Like everything
works
out for me. It doesn't matter what it is. Everything will work out if you just trust that everything works out for you. Whether it's what you thought would work out or what you thought you wanted, it's what has worked out. And I'm so excited for you guys. I cannot wait to hear about all the fun everyone's doing. I love New York City is like one of my top 3 places in the US to visit. So I'm so excited for everyone. I am excited to see. I have like no FOMO about it. I'm very excited to see what you guys are all going to experience.
Sun tonight.
I'm not going to watch their videos but I'm still excited for them because I want it to be completely fresh.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch footage or anything, but it's like someone was like, today, why aren't you going to Mohegan tonight? And I was like, well, because I had already got my tickets to Mohegan. I'm going for the weekend. We've already got tickets.
Oh, you already got your tickets to Carnegie.
To Carnegie, thank you. That's my dyslexic brain. We already got some tickets to some Broadway shows. We're making a weekend out of it. That was where my expenses we're going to go for this experience. It's okay that I can't go to everything.
Yeah.
It's okay. And for those that can go to everything, good on you. Like, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you get to have those opportunities, but don't let that bum you out because you can't. Just save up and do what you want to do because it'll be worth it. It'll absolutely be worth it.
Ugh, what a night of
And the
positivity. I love
timing,
this.
right after yesterday and ahead of this weekend that we have right in front of us. Deb, I mean, I don't even.
So good.
Deb, really. I'm so happy that you know, that we got to chat today and yesterday too. Like, I think you said like we chatted for a little bit. I think we were on this for about like an hour and a bit, you know. And I really hope that we get to meet on Saturday too.
I hope we get to meet on Saturday too, but just so you know, Ashley, the way that this all transpired was that I just sent Melanie a note that was just like, hey, I watched your live after the documentary and I really like appreciate like the content you guys are putting out. Keep up the good work. Like, just putting it out there. Didn't ask for anything, didn't like expect anything, didn't even necessarily need a response. Was just
because Deb, everything works out for you. Everything works out for you, Deb.
And you guys.
Yeah. No, but yeah, she just like commented like on Sunday after the live, and I think you had just mentioned I can't remember like what you said that like compelled me like you should come and tell us, and then it all just kind of worked out. A couple days later, I'm like, can you come on the live like day after tomorrow? And here we are.
Yes. Actually, if you go on the cruise, any question to every response to any question is F yes. That's it. Hey Deb, do you want to go down the water slide? F yes. Do you want to go get pizza at 4 a.m.?
Yes.
F yes.
Okay, something else that came out of our conversation yesterday is Deb warned me that she likes to say fuck. So that's why you're saying like that's why you keep saying F. Yes.
Just
do it. Just go for it.
Watch this later, and I was like, oh, I have to keep it like clean and classy. I'm from Boston. I'm gonna cruise Jim.
We are so
it is what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, so in real life, not on like a recorded live, you will see the F's drop, especially after cocktails.
All right.
Love it. Well, I can't wait to meet you, Deb. I hope
Are you
guys
going
have
to
the
the
best
rodeo,
time.
Ashley? Are you going?
No. So I have the conundrum that I'm turning 40 this year in February, and so I'm going to Disney World with my sisters.
No. February.
We're going to Disney World in February.
26th. 22nd.
22nd.
11th.
But still, it's the double digits. The 1 1, the 2 2.
Yes, I will remember that. So yes, so we're spending our birthday there, and then one of our very good Blockhead friends is getting married this year. She's having a bachelorette party in Orlando in March, like late March, early April. Yes. So it's like my spring is full of, well, kind of like you were saying, you have to pick and choose your things. You can't, regret missing out. I have some really exciting things coming up, which means I'm going to miss the rodeo. I'm going to miss Joe's show, but I'm excited to see all of you having the time of your lives and sharing it. And with these conversations we've been having on Wednesdays, I'm sure we will invite people who will give me the feels like I was there anyway. So, well, you ladies have fun. So for both of you, since I'm not going to Joe's show, what is one thing you're looking forward to for being in, not necessarily the show, but being in New York with a bunch of Blockheads?
Okay. Well, first, I'm going to be visiting family. I have family that I haven't seen since before the pandemic, so I'm looking forward to that piece. But okay, so I can't say. Okay, so it can't be like Carnegie experience. I mean, I think just
it can
being
be.
in like there's what 2,800 seats in that venue, and like it's Carnegie Hall. Like again, like thinking back to Please Don't Go Girl, that child. That little boy thinking that he grew up and ended up like he's headlining Carnegie. And then there's that joke or that saying, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, right? And that's what he's been doing his entire life. And to say that I was in the room when that happened, that's pretty, and to be surrounded by Blockheads is pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing.
And what about
I
you,
can't
Deb?
wait for you guys. Deb,
It's a tough answer to follow because that was such a good answer, Melanie.
You know what? I bet it's probably the answer a lot of blockheads would give.
Yeah, I think it's probably really similar. I don't know. Was it last? I don't remember the year, but the first Boston Garden show that happened after Joe's dad passed away, and he tried to hold it together, but there was a moment that he kind of got. I feel like seeing him. I feel like he's probably going to have one of those moments of like his parents aren't around, but like, look at, I did good, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to get all shit, get all emotional.
it happens every week. We get to this point where it's like someone starts to cry.
I hope he sings some Sinatra.
Right.
So I actually that's another thing I would thank him for. I got to see Frank Sinatra in 1994. I saw him perform live because of Joe, because Joe's like, I love Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra all about. And then I was like into Frank Sinatra for a whole bunch of years. And then I went and like saw him. He didn't sound very good, but it was him.
So Frank Sinatra and I, we both had the same birthday, December 12th.
Aww.
Different years.
Happy
That's the joke, obviously, but
belated birthday.
thank you. But yeah, so because of Joe, that opened up your eyes to Frank Sinatra, and you became a fan, and you got to see him in concert. And I mean, where did you see him in concert?
At the Merriweather Post Pavilion.
Oh, okay. Where we saw New Kids.
Yeah.
A couple summers ago. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a similar venue, I think, to like our Great Woods or Tweeter Center. What do they call it now? Xfinity Center? I don't know. They keep changing the name. But like the outdoor pavilion with the lawn in the back kind of thing. Yeah, I went with a friend from college. We just like went for the weekend and yeah. And I don't know how many people can say that like they got influenced enough to go and do that, but to thank him for that, knowing that that's an influence of his, like musically, you know what I mean?
Well, I think that him singing Frank Sinatra, I think it's got to happen, right? It's going to happen. Yeah.
How about you guys? I'm like wicked needle phobic. Like whenever I go to the doctor and they like have to take blood.
Oh, I don't like when they take the blood, but I don't mind like a shot.
To the moon. How I get through it. Every time.
Now, when you're singing that to yourself, are you hearing Joe singing it?
Frank.
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So if he sings "Fly Me to the Moon," you don't know, lose it.
Yeah. I'm gonna be on the lookout for you for sure.
Thank you, ladies, so much for having me on tonight.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like you are my people, and like I need to have more of you in my life. So.
Well, you know what? I think, you've got a lot of new people also in the chat. You have a lot of fans who were like, I love Deb. I'm following Deb. So I'm so happy that, we're all making so many new friends in this whole process. And I
love that she says.
That's the amazing thing is that we're meeting new people.
Yeah.
So cool.
Thank you so much.
Ugh. Well, you guys have flights. Well, I don't know about
I have
you,
a
Deb,
flight
but I know
in
Melanie
4
has a flight to catch.
Yeah.
Yes. So we will probably end this here, but I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching. The amount of positivity every week from this has been just so, I mean, that's why we started PCD group therapy, was like to give us all this energy and this happiness and not to feel sad that things aren't happening. And now as things are starting to happen, it's just like an exasperated
now we're like ramping up, getting excited about the things that are coming coming up in 2023.
And it's anticipation of unknown, and right? It's like all
the anticipation of the unknown.
The documentary. We've been working on these things for months, and they can't wait to unveil it to us, right? Like we're on the other side of it, chomping at the bit, saying, "Okay, take our money. Yep. Okay, where are we going? Let's see." It's a wonderful piece of the puzzle of my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah,
and
I think we all.
You see, Joe,
agree.
tell him I said hi.
All right, ladies. Well, I'm going to let the live go now.
Thank you.
Safe travels. Everyone have fun. I can't wait to follow anyone who's on here who's going. I can't wait to see everything everyone's doing. Melanie, I'm so excited for you. And thank you for trying to get me there.
I was looking at flights. I was like, how much would it cost from Sioux City to New York? And it was very expensive. It was very expensive a few days ago. So I was like, I'm going to let that go.
Well,
sorry, Sioux Falls. Sorry, I did look up Sioux Falls.
Close enough. Anyway,
Thank you.
all right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for tonight, and have a blast. Thank you, Deb, for showing us all of your in our book, A New Kids on the Block Historian. Thank you for your service to our community.
I had a chance to read any of the comments as they were coming in, so I saw maybe a couple of them, but they were flying pretty fast and they kind of froze. So I'll have to go back later and see them.
You won't be able to see the comments, unfortunately, in the replay. So for anybody who was trying to reach out to Deb or had a question for her or whatever, message her. Okay.
Yeah, drop me a DM.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. Good night. Thanks, everyone in the chat for joining. Night. Bye.
Bye.